Hello, how you doing, Anne?
Very well, thank you.
Um, so first of all, thanks for joining. We're gonna talk about something that is super important this year, last year, next year. It's gonna be a big thing, which is accessibility in WooCommerce. We know that WooCommerce itself went through, a process of, becoming more accessible. But I think today we're talking about mostly from the merchant point of view. So what I'd like you to do is, first of all, introduce yourself.
So, most people call me Anne because my full name is difficult. It's Annemieke Bovelett. It's a Dutch name. It's where I grew up. And 6 years ago, I discovered that I had been creating closed doors online for a lot of people by the way I built my websites. And I learned that there's a word for that. It's inaccessible. And then I dove into that. I've got ADHD on steroids, so I hyper focused into it like crazy. I wanted to know everything there is about it. And on the side, I also discovered that although a lot of people are capable of learning how to create accessible code or an accessible design or write accessible content, not so many people are able to put up a big mouth like I do because I choose to, and I choose to take the hit for it because I'm working solo. So instead of becoming a tester for accessibility, I've decided to get into accessibility strategy. And I had to wait it out because everybody was talking about the European Accessibility Act. Ooh, we're all going to get a fine. If your shop does more than 2 million revenue and it's B2C, or you have 10 people employed and the cleaning lady is included, you are forced to make something accessible. But it's actually insane that this is forced because it is one of the biggest levers in your conversions, and people really are beginning to learn that now. Well, just an example, I learned people always ask because making something accessible that wasn't accessible before, and WooCommerce can sing a song about it, believe me, is very complex and it's very difficult because it's like having this building where you try to say, okay, now let's put in an extra floor in the middle, folks, not on top or bottom, right? So that's very expensive. Often rebuilding something completely is a much better idea to do it right from the ground up. But then, of course, the people who have to pull their wallets for that are going like, yeah. So what's the ROI? Or why do we need this modern woke stuff again? I mean, I know it sounds harsh, but this is how people do react. And the interesting thing is when people say, oh, this is new, I like to pull out this business case of a UK supermarket. I'll mention who it is in a few. And they invested in an accessible web shop and they had 37,000% ROI.
37,000.
1,000%. Yes.
Okay. Wow.
They invested £35,000. And the additional revenue that it gave them was 13 million a year. And this is a case that was listed on the site of the European Commission. So I was like, oh, now we're getting into numbers, right?
Now we're talking. Yes.
Yes. And then everybody, saying like, oh, this is all this modern stuff. Well, I think if I have it right, I have an article about it. I'll give you the link. It's over 20 years ago. And it was Tesco. What they did was build an accessible web shop next to their regular web shop. At that time, people still did stupid things like that. And technology was not that far that it was easy to merge them into one. But this is why we have such clear numbers. And then later on, there is an institute in the UK that creates something called the Clickway Pound Report. I wrote an article about it. It's called the e-commerce industry £1 billion mistake. And in 2019, so 7 years ago, they figured out that because web shops are are not allowing people to use their site in the way that everybody else can. And this is not only screen reader user, folks. This is also keyboard users, people with ADHD, people who need to type with a keyboard, people who do voice control. And I mean, everybody before is like, voice control, what's that? And now everybody's like talking to cloud. Well, folks, that is also a form of voice control, right? So by allowing more people in, you're making more money. And people are like, well, disabled people don't visit my website. I'm always very offended because I have ADHD. I'm in the spectrum. I have all these things that make me hate sites that have moving objects where I cannot turn it off, where I don't have control. I'm not alone. The numbers are there, the reports are there, but it's also the office manager that party too hard during the weekend that goes to the office with an incredible hangover, and there is your website with 20 million pop-ups because someone in your marketing department decided to do a campaign for stacks of paper that they want to sell. Well, what do you think that this woman is going to do with her headache? She's going to go order elsewhere or forget about your campaign.
Right.
And it's the same thing with B2B, because the European Accessibility Act is about B2C, but B2B people are like, oh, we don't need that. We're B2B. Now imagine someone who's been, what do you call them? Someone's been working at the machines in a factory in the noise for years and years and years and years, and they make a career, and suddenly they are the manager of the department that decides which machines are going to get bought. Right? Now, this person has hearing problems because he's been in this noise for 20 years. So he's going to look up on sites to see where he can buy these machines, and they have videos on this website, and the videos don't have closed captions.
Right, like simple things. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking here about very expensive gear, right? So this is what I'm always trying to tell people. And now the most interesting thing is coming because things are moving so fast. When I was writing the article about the £1 billion mistake, that was over a year ago. We were still like, oh, it's so exciting. We have so much stuff going on our smartphones. And now it's like, and now we have agentic search. And here's another thing, because, I mean, let it be clear, I'm in accessibility for humanitarian reasons to begin with. But I learned that the only language people understand is money.
So I love all the examples that you that you gave us. That's the best way to give a bit of context. So let's move to WooCommerce now for a sec, given that this is a WooCommerce conference.
Oh yeah, WooCommerce, yeah. And, I started kicking their shin. Well, I hope I did. Not in the meanest way, obviously, but I started writing about that in 2022, and I said, any e-commerce system that is not working on accessibility is going to be the last in the line. And when I wrote that, someone called me a cold commercial bitch. It was very funny.
Ooh. Okay.
But what is incredibly important is that people understand that now we have agentic search. I mean, if you are not in it for humanitarian reasons, social reasons, you're going to be in it for your wallet, or your customer is going to be in it for their wallet. And I can tell you, just yesterday, Steve Jones, the CTO at Equalize Digital, the agency that helped WooCommerce to be accessibility ready in their core, said he'd been testing with an agent, and the agent wasn't working, and he thought he was making a mistake. And it turns out that the modal that the agent was supposed to click could not be clicked because the code was corrupt.
So there is lots of work to be done anyway.
Yes.
But I think what's important to say here is that regulations are now, have been in place for a while. And people don't seem to really care. But I like your angle where you said, it's so boring and bad when people say, oh, I have no time, or I don't want to invest into something just because it's the regulations. But now that you mentioned, oh, there are profits, there is revenue to be made, people would probably think about this.
Rodolfo, this is because for people working in accessibility, it's absolutely not sexy to speak about money, because then you are. It's like, oh, we're trying to make money over people's backs, but the thing is about allowing people to have the same opportunities that we all do, and that includes making the same mistakes, like buying the wrong pair of shoes. This is something we tend to forget, and so I will always talk about money because of that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What's the ans.link/summit? That's amazing. I was just gonna ask you, how do someone gets in touch with you? So that's perfect. Listen, so time's up. So for now, thank you. I hope we can get back for a longer session on this, because it's so important, even more technical, taking a look at things on the website, like a demo, a walkthrough, a screencast, and showing, what are the main things that people should look into. But for now, I thank you so much, even for such a short conversation. Hopefully it's the beginning of something.